Hi everyone, Jackson here. Welcome back to the daily endeavours for the 19th of April. Before I go into the endeavours themselves, timestamps will be in the description if you want to skip anything, like talking about the golden vendor. But yeah, and some people like to listen to me talk about this stuff, so I think this is a pretty good pair of helmets. These are both things I would actually use quite a fair bit. So Arc Druids, this is a great tanking set, a support tank set. So every time you heavy attack, you basically it does like a proc where a bear like shoots that little wave, and it applies major vulnerability, which is a great debuff, something you pretty much want to have on bosses at all times. And this, alongside things like Necromancer or Turning Tide, the set from a DLC dungeon that also applies major vulnerability, with those you can actually keep it applied for long durations of time. So, like, as far as I'm aware, I don't know if it's changed now, but main tanks can, or off tanks can run this with Turning Tide and always have the debuff up, and it's great. So I think people still use it today. So yeah, definitely consider this one. I think it is worth 100,000 gold because it's a DLC dungeon, quite an advanced one. And yeah, I mean, if you've got the DLC, I would definitely avoid this. But if you don't want to buy the DLC, definitely consider putting your hands on this. Magma Incarnate. So this one, the two-piece is not something I'm a big fan of. These are two buffs that, if you're really worried about like optimized stuff, very easy to get these two buffs in most cases. Minor Courage is from either Arcanist or you can get from Yolnakrin, which is a 5-piece set. And Yolnakrin applies it to all members of a trial, so you don't need to... This only targets a few people, and I'm pretty sure it targets one person at a time, so it's not great. It'd be okay in Pugs, but like, the DLC dungeon, and it's a tough DLC dungeon, at that point you're not really wanting to be looking at Pugs. But the One Piece, honestly, is amazing. One Piece Magicka and One Piece Stamina in the same thing. Really good. Like, that's a lot of recovery for both sides just for a single piece. And what I like to do myself, on my current PvP builds, it's maybe a little bit outdated nowadays, but what I like to do is mix this with another one piece of Baron Thirsk, which does literally the same thing. So those two together gives you like 260 recovery for both Stamina and Magicka. And I use... for characters like getting Sky Shard farming and like skill line leveling and shit like that, I have Stage 4 Vampires to do quests really fast for skill point grinding as well. Because Stage 4 Vampirism you can get like a sprint build and sprint max on foot speed while you're invisible, and it's just really good for getting through quests because you can just avoid most fighting. And in those cases, because Stage 4 Vampirism caused your ability cost to increase so much, I do like to run these two on the shoulder and head just to offset the sustain loss that you'll get for Vampirism. So I love these two sets. But I realized the other day when I was away for the funeral I had to go to, I missed Baron Thirsk, and I'm really bloody upset because these two together is like awesome. That being said, with 20,000 Telvar, you can buy in the Imperial City safe zone area a curated lockbox of a Baron Thirsk shoulder. And although that is quite a lot of Telvar, if you manage to persist through every single, or at least most of the daily rewards for like a couple of months, you can get 20,000 Telvar. Give it like 6 months, I would say. Maybe less if you manage to get both. But you can definitely get yourself a piece of Baron Thirsk shoulder. And if you manage to buy the Magma Incarnate helmet, you can pair these two together and get this regen right now, like soon, And this is something that I personally do recommend. If you want to do a Endeavors runner and you don't have a Nightblade with Cloak, this is like honestly the second best thing. So yeah, I personally love this set. Would definitely recommend buying at least the Magma Incarnate Mask, just because I think medium armor for a vampire build is the best. But if you've got money to spend, maybe even try and get the light and the medium, because sometimes it's good to have light armor. Wouldn't go so far as to go all three, but yeah, at least get one, I would suggest. But yeah, I know it's a lot of gold. I know it's a lot of gold, but this is it's not the easiest DLC dungeon in the world. Same with Archdruids. And, if you haven't got the DLC, you can't even access it anyway. So, yeah, I just think if there are... Because most of the other monster sets I use, like the 2-piece ones, are just like base game ones, there's one of the few that I do recommend. Yeah, definitely consider that one. As for the jury, as always, I don't really think there's anything worth getting for jury. But Lamia's, the problem with Lamia's is it doesn't. According to, I haven't actually tried this stat, but it apparently uses the ultimate cost of it uses the cost of the ultimate that you cast. It doesn't base it on how much ultimate you've got. So, for example, if you've got 500 ultimate, you've saved it up, and you use it on, say, like a Nightblade, using Nightblade like Soul Harvest, for example, you'll only get 25 times 70 instead of 25 times 500 because it uses the cost of the ulti. Obviously, Warhorn's not too bad. Like, it costs a fair bit. For a healer, you could use this set. It's just like a easy to get one. But it's from a dungeon, and Gold Jury it is a base game dungeon. So it's easy to get this set if you want to do that. And even then, it really doesn't compare to things like Master Architect or Pillagers, which are two ultimate sets that are used quite extensively in high-end raids and stuff like that. And yeah, I just wouldn't suggest this. For 200,000 gold to get a ring, like, no. Even if you're going to do, like, even though it's still not a great set, still, like, even if you do want this, you just do the dungeon, because this comes from Arcturnium, which is not a difficult dungeon. You can solve that shit on normal, like, it's not a big deal. Flanking, this set is okay. I don't mind this one, but I wouldn't go jury. I would go medium armor on like the 5-piece of your main armor, because medium armor is pretty good, but it's not a great set. It's decent, like it's okay for like raids. In like certain instances, like for example, Hellrust Cyrodiil, pretty much the whole final boss you're fighting the boss where their back is behind you. The back is facing you. Sorry. So you'll pretty much have this up all the time, but especially in like pugs and solo play, this thing won't be great because you're probably going to be having a lot of stuff like running around. Like, you can't trust tanks and those sorts of things. So in those cases, it's not great. And even when the back's facing you, in other cases, there are still going to be better sets than this. But it is an overland set. And getting the jury isn't the easiest thing to do because it's Gold Coast, which not many people do anymore. And there's no dolmens in that zone, so you can't just easily get the jury overnight. Like, there's no incursion type events where you can easily get the jury. It only comes from coffers from completing the world boss dailies and the delve dailies. But still, I'm sure there's a lot of jury out there by this point because it's like 10 years old. And yeah, I would just use like Orders Wrath and shit that's easy to get otherwise, because I think Orders Wrath will still outperform this. Green Pact, forgettable. When it came out, it was pretty decent because tanks there was like more benefits to stacking tons of health. In some rare cases it is, but health recovery was also a lot better back then because things like minor and major defile didn't affect health recovery. So you could stack it with things like Troll King and like Beekeepers to get tons of health recovery and make it really hard to kill you through all that regen. Because back then, like, stacking healing debuffs was also strong. But yeah, they didn't affect health recovery. But now health recovery is impacted by minor defile and major defile, and I'm pretty sure this got nerfed anyway. So yeah, and there's less things to stacking health as well because DKs used to have like Igneous Shield and stuff like that. You used to get much more affected by how much health you have, and now it's not too much the case. So yeah, just a forgettable set, and the jury, the domins there aren't too bad, and there's probably fucking heaps of these things on kill stores. People just like use them for decon, I would imagine. Alright, now two throw. This one, I'm quite fond of this, but I'm really not fucking fond of how you get it. I would have loved to see two throw and the Magicka variation of this, Treasure Hunter. I would have loved to have seen these as overland sets, because they would be perfect as overland sets, right? Because major savagery, right? This is a good buff. It gives you 10% crit chance, which is great. But the problem is, when you're going through dungeons, you're probably going to have your sets pretty decently set up anyway. And major savagery and prophecy are things that the only reason I even talk about these two is because one's light armor, one's medium armor. If you want to do like a light armor Magicka build, you'd use this instead, to make sure your sustain isn't arse. It's good in trials, but when you're on your own, it's not great because you have like no Magicka sustain. But anyway, so the problem I have is you can get potions which give you major savagery and prophecy, and they have 100% uptime when you have high alchemy. You also have some classes, for example, this Nightblade has Disguise, which gives you major prophecy and savagery for spotting it on either bar. So this was another reason why I really like Nightblades with Cloak, is just got so much stuff stacked to it. Like Templars also have the buffs as well, easily. DKs have the buff easily. I'm pretty sure Arcanists do as well. Oaken Soul as well, you can easily get it from that. And these come from dungeons. That's my biggest gripe with these. If you could get these in Overland, it'll be so much better, because like it's just another thing that you could use. Because if you've got like a class that doesn't have major prophecy by default, like Sorcerer, for example, you could have used these in Overland to just have like a chill set that you'd use where you don't want to use like expensive potions to get your crit chance, or like other methods like spotting a skill. I think spotting a skill is still more valuable than wasting an entire 5-piece set for this. But if you wanted to have this buff and practice your rotation as if you had crit chance anyway, like your skill bar would act as if you use like the expensive potions, you could use this as well to give you the same level of crit, but just like sort of allow you to not spot the same, like the skill, just get the crit, so you can use your rotation normally, just things like that. It's not an important set, but it's like for like simplicity's sake, if these were Overland sets, I would have loved them, but they're fucking dungeon sets, and it's fucking suck. They're so, like, there's not really any reason you would use these for other than that, like, reason of just not having to slot skill that gives magic sorcery and not use those expensive potions. But because they're dungeons, there's no really any incentive to thinking about that. So yeah, I just wouldn't suggest this. But I love the theory, I just fucking hate the application. But that really is a ZeniMax in a nutshell. Right, so that's everything. So yeah, definitely look at those helmets. Everything else, as always, just forget about it. Alright, so now let's get into endeavors themselves. We've got a 15 steel set, bit of deja vu, a couple of options we've seen here from past couple of days. Pickpocketing, Ward Boss, harvesting resources from the world, killing a player in Cyrodiil, and then placing structure furnishings. So my advice here would be to do resources, Ward Boss, and then go to your house and just place your structure furnishings down. I'll just go through a bit of prerequisite if you want to do this, because what I suggest you do is you do these first and then go to your house, so that from wherever you are, basically, you can just travel to your house at any time. Whereas if you travel to your house, you have to go back out and do everything else. So start with the little prerequisites. So if you haven't got a house yet, what you should do is come to this location here in Glenumbra. This way shine you start with by default, so it's very easy to reach. Come to this location here. There'll be a lady you might be able to speak to named Philan de Marie. If she's not here, you've already got the house. Just exhaust the dialogue with her, you'll get a house for free. You go to your house, the house tab in maps, go to this section here in collected, and it'll show you which one you've got. Depends on which alliance you are, but yeah, there should be one here once you've spoken to her. If you need a structure furnishing with these little houses, you will need one. So this one here, wood cutting block, this is usually what I get. Just one of these is all you need. Now, if you've got any bigger houses than that, basically anything that aren't those little apartment rooms, they should come with a structure furnishing themselves, so you might not have to buy one at all. Or like most of the ones that cost gold, like even, for example, I have, I've got on my main account, I've got the one in Eastmarch, where is it? Autumn's Gate, that's the one. Huh? Oh, yeah, sorry. Even small houses should have some structure furnishings that you can use. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Alright, so we'll start with a world boss. There's a couple of ways you can do this. There is the simple way of just waiting at Western Overlook, just right next to this way shrine. Because all you have to do from this way shrine is just jump off the cliff, and there'll be a world boss right here. Odds are, though, it will be dead, and you'll have to wait for it to respawn. Might get lucky, we'll see. But yeah, looks like someone just killed it. So what I would usually do is... It's probably not super quick, but just wait here. Because in about 5 minutes after it dies, it'll respawn, and you can just kill it. So the good thing about world bosses usually is, ones like this, if you're just like in your menu, just doing stuff, as long as you can hear fighting in the background, you will have usually a pretty good amount of time to react to the spawn. Whereas in things like delves and public dungeons, if you're waiting for a boss to spawn, public dungeon boss is different because you could use Natatambi, but definitely delve bosses. As soon as delve bosses spawn, when people are waiting to do them for endeavors, man, you've got like fucking a few seconds before they die. Whereas this, usually like 10 seconds is the quickest they'll die most of the time. Sometimes it can take minutes. So usually you're pretty good for world bosses. Yeah, this is one that will usually be dead by the time you get there, though. Just keep that in mind. So another one of my preferred ways of doing this one is to travel between these two way shrines here. So go to this world boss from this one, and if they're not there, just keep checking if this one comes up. Sometimes you might get unlucky and it spawns just as you leave, and then everyone kills it, but yeah. That's one way I like to do it too. And the thing about this is, today this might actually be a good idea, because on the way, you could find things like this. So you got resources from the world. So yeah, I'll explain that in just a second, but I'll just see if the world boss is here. This is a pretty good world boss, I think, to do. It's pretty straightforward fighting this one. There's only like half the time he spends just, oh god, yeah, low champion points, low armor. So if you don't interrupt him when he does this, or it's a she, I think it's like a mother. When they just do that thing, that channel, they just sit there doing nothing basically the whole time. So you can use that to your advantage. Yeah, when they do this, just sit there and get your resources back. Yeah, if you're going to fight one on your own, just make sure you have a self-heal like Vigor. Because, especially if you're not super high champion points, some of these guys can hit like a truck. As long as you have Vigor and like a weapon to heavy attack to get stamina back, you pretty much can't lose. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take. Oh, god, there we go. That took way too fucking long. Yeah, just do that. And then, while you're on your way to the way shrine, just check for any resources from the world. Alright, so now let me talk about them. So pretty much anything that you can pick up from a node is a resource from the world. So for example, this Columbine. So here's a list of everything that works, all this stuff here. Pretty much the only things that don't work: chests, thieves' troves, basically the insect nodes that you'll find all around the place, so torchbugs, butterflies, wasps, and containers. Things like the weapon rack that we used the other day to do containers, things like that don't work. So torchbugs here, these don't count, so don't bother with these ones. Also, enemies that drop like rubido leather and stuff like that, they don't count for resources from the world, which is annoying. Yeah, things like runestones, go for it. Things like cloth-reducing plants, blacksmithing ore, rough wood that you find around trees and stuff, they will work. Yeah, any of the alchemy resources work as well. So what I would suggest is while you're on your way to a world boss, or like while you're on your way to check like these kinds of world bosses, look around for some resources from the world too. If you're going to do pickpocketing as well, there might be some resources while you're running through here. Like there's like an ancestor silk node as over here and stuff like that. So yeah, just look through there, and it will not take you very long. If I just come over here, I'm sure I'll see a bunch of things in the wild. Right, here we go. So look at that. So we've got a wood node, we've got a runestone, and then we've got an ore over here. So sometimes you just find a ton of stuff in a little spot. It's an alchemy node as well. So yeah, you can see what I mean. Like you'll run through this thing very quick if you just go to a spot that nobody else has been to. There we go. We've got a Peter seam. Perfect. So that's everything. And then you got some up there. Come over here, and I imagine there's like there's an alchemy node there. There's a mountain flower, a columbine as well. We'll grab that. So yeah, just look around. So you've got tons and tons of zones to use. You've got these 5 base game ones. You've got Craglawn, which is great. Usually, you've got these 5 base game zones. You've got the DLC zones. Old ones like Rothgar and Western Skyrim are usually pretty good and like old small zones like Gold Coast are great because that's usually where people don't go. So yeah, just look through anything. You're pretty much fine. Tons of stuff lying around. Yeah, just avoid chests, insects, and stuff like that, and you should be good. Yeah, there's bug loss there as well. Alright, so I've got this wood block here that I recommended before. So what you can do is, if it's in your inventory, just go browse, and you go down to structures. It'll be here, and you can just place it down. But what you can do then, once it's placed on the ground, pick it up, put it away, and then, I mean, if it's on the ground, you can just undo, redo as well. But now, this is for in the future, because once you've got this block, you can do this every single time the structures one comes up. So now we go undo, it'll place it back down, we redo, and it places it back down. And you can do this as many times as it needs to be for like how many furnishings there are for the Endeavor. Now, if you want to check your house if you've already got one, what you do is you go back into the housing menu, go back to browse, but instead of being in the place section, go to this tab here, retrieve, and it'll show you every structure item that has been placed in this house. So in this case, it's got a wood cutting block. It'll show you in a list everything and how far away it is. So just click it, and then you can put it away here, and then outside of that, you go back into the normal menu and you go undo, and it'll place it back down. And you can just redo, undo, redo, undo, and yeah. As long as you press undo, it'll put it back on the floor, and then you can just pick it up again and just do whatever you need. So that's a way to, what I like to do is just like fit all the different types of furnishings, so structure, parlor, whatever the hell. Once I just chuck them in a corner in one of my houses, and anytime this comes up, I just go to it, pick it up, undo, redo, and as many times as it needs, and that's it. So yeah, that's another great endeavor. So at this point, you've done your 3 endeavors. But if you've got another one of these, just do, if you're not going to do a world boss or harvesting resources, if you're going to do one of these two, just do them first. But just understand, in Cyrodiil, you can't just port to your house at will. It's also another negative part of this one here I'm not a fan of. But definitely Pickpocket, you can do it. Especially since you probably have a bounty, so it's best just to go straight to your house. Alright, pickpocketing. So, the art of pickpocketing is simple. Go up behind people, and then press E behind them when you're not detected. You might have noticed that little green ding thing that happened there. I'll explain that in a second. But yeah, that's it. So the problem is, this is completely just an RNG fest. Sometimes you'll be able to pickpocket them, sometimes you won't. There's not really any skill involved, aside from knowing about the green ding thing. Right, so there's 3 ways to increase your pickpocketing. One is to be a Khajiit. You get the cut purse skill here. You don't even have to put a passive into this, passive skill point into this. It's just active as soon as you're level 5 on that character. So that's one way. It's a very small amount of pickpocketing chance though. I don't have Leisure Domain. I suppose I need to... Oh yeah, okay, interesting. I suppose I have to successfully pickpocket and not to unlock Leisure Domain. But Leisure Domain is another way. There's a passive called Light Fingers. You know what? Fuck it. I'll just see if I can pickpocket first. Oh yeah, they're already suspicious. So stay away from guards when you got a bounty. This is why Auradon's not too bad of an option, because as long as you stay on this side of the manor, the bank manor, like outside, there's a bunch of people here you can pickpocket, and there's no guards that can stop you. If you once you go around in other places, they'll get in the way. But yeah, so there we go. So we got one. So Leisure Domain, you've got the Light Fingers passive here. As you can see, the final passive gives you 50% bonus pickpocketing, which is huge. Like, it makes it way easier to do this one. The problem is getting to the amount of Leisure Domain that you need to get that passive is fucking ridiculous. It takes ages. So there are 2 ways. The green ding, on the other hand, is just a time thing. So after a certain amount of time passes, you'll hear the green ding, and it'll increase your chance by about 20%. And the only way to get this again is to just wait, which is sometimes a pain in the ass because the green ding can actually line up with when people start moving, and you won't be able to get the ding. And as soon as, because sometimes your character will follow them, but not successfully pickpocket them, and by the time your character does pickpocket, the green ding thing will go away. So it's just a shitty system that I really don't like using, but it's all you got for pickpocketing at this point. So again, we do that. We get spotted though. We get a bounty. Yeah, nothing you can do about that. You just have to keep bashing your head against the wall, basically, pickpocketing everyone in sight. Now, there's a few guards around. This is one of the guards you've got to worry about, that one there. But there's a few people here that you can safely pickpocket without the guard getting in your way. The guards will not... They're not like the ones in Oblivion. They will not fucking chase you to the ends of the earth to tell you about your bounty for killing a chicken or whatever. Like, they won't chase you into fucking, like, an Oblivion gate. Like, fucking neck deep in lava to tell you about it. Like, these ones don't get paid enough money, man. They won't chase you, so don't worry about them. Yeah, that's your only choice here. Just walk up behind people, wait for the green effect to apply to increase the chance, and then try. And the more you do it, yeah, see what I mean? So I tried then and it just didn't let me. So now I just got to wait for it to happen again. And he couldn't move by that point. There we go. Alright, so beautiful. So yeah, the more you do it, the better you'll get, because you can just start putting more and more points into this. But early on, it's going to suck, and you'll get a bounty, pretty much guaranteed. Now, there's one more thing I will mention with this, and that is medium armor. The improved sneak passive, putting points into this is helpful, because it increases how close, or it improves how close you get to people before they spot you. And that's important for pickpocketing, because you can't pickpocket people when you are spotted. Well, I think in some cases, like rare cases, you can, but you'll get a bounty regardless, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, you don't want that happening. So yeah, get some points into that if you can, and some medium armor on a character if you really want to make this easier. But yeah, just kind of accept the fact that unless you're like really high legitimated, you're going to get a bounty. There's not really many ways to avoid it in those cases. So if you struggle to find people to pickpocket in Oridon there, because if players kill those acolytes that you want to pickpocket, you won't be able to pickpocket them anymore, so it'll be a pain in the ass waiting for the respawn. In that case, you can just go somewhere else. Things like Bergama, there's usually not as many people trying to kill civilians there, so I like to use Bergama myself. You know, other places, you can try other town hamlets, like for example, you could try Ebenhard, or go to Gratwood and try places like Cormount, you know, other places that have just civilians. Or if you own the Gold Road, okay, if you own the Dark Brotherhood DLC, doing Black Sacraments, they have civilians in them that are instants, so other players can actually get into your Black Sacraments and kill any of them. So you can pickpocket those ones. You will probably get a bounty from doing that, but it's a way to do it. It's a guaranteed way to get a bunch of people to pickpocket straight away if you don't want to deal with like players killing stuff in the place that you want to do pickpocketing in. The only thing is you need to complete a lesson in silence quest in the zone story for Gold Coast in order to get access to Black Sacrament. So it will be a little bit of preparation getting to that point. It takes a few hours usually, maybe less if you're quick. But yeah, it'll take a bit of prep getting to that point. Anything more than that, I think is not worth it. I don't think the killing players one is that worth it, because trying to find a player in like Cyrodiil sometimes can be a pain in the ass. If it's a populated time, maybe go for it and just follow a group around, because what you need to understand about this one is you don't actually need to kill them yourself. If another player kills them and you did some damage, then it'll still count. Even if you just like light attack them once, it should still count. So what I would do is just follow a group around, light attack every player that you see, and if they die, you should get participation with it. So you can also use Siege, especially in a defense, hit a bunch of players with Siege, and if they get killed, should count as well. But yeah, I just just skip it and do these ones instead. I think you'll find these ones will be quicker than trying to kill a flyer, unless you like the stars align and one rocks up just as you're going to defend a keep. Yeah, but yeah, just don't really rely on this one myself. All right, so if you've got any questions, as always, just let me know. But daily's done for now. Thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks for your support as always. I'll see you next time, and take care.